Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. Let's take a walk and go see what's in the fridge today. Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer should be a nice treat. This is Evil Twins Imperial Doughnut Break. This is an 11.5% ABV beer. For those of you who do not know who makes this beer, this is done by McKellar's brother, Jeppy, and both McKellar, he's over in Europe, over in, I think, Amsterdam or over in the Netherlands somewhere. He's considered a vagabond brewer, and what that is, he doesn't have his own brewery, and he doesn't brew his own beers at his brewery. What he does is he takes his recipes and goes around to different breweries and has them brew his beers and bottle them according to what bottles they use. Jeppy does the same thing. He's over in the U.S. now, and he's the same way. He's a vagabond brewer too. He goes to different breweries and has them brew his recipes, just like his brother McKellar does. And a lot of the beers are brewed at different places and bottled accordingly to what bottles they use. Most of the stuff that I've seen from him is either in a 12-ounce bottle or the 22-ounce. I've not seen a lot of the bigger 500 milliliters or 750 milliliter bottles, but there are probably some of them out there too. I'm not exactly sure. Everything that I recall doing from Evil Twin has either been in a 12-ounce bottle or a 22-ounce bottle. And this is a 22-ounce bottle. And this was sent to me by Scott. Scott, thanks again, brother, for sending me the beer mail package the other day, and I do appreciate it, sir. The beers that I've had from either McKellar or Jeppy have been awesome. McKellar does a great craft beer, and so does Jeppy. He does a great beer too. Those two brothers know what they're doing as far as brewing process. Usually they are very, very tasty and in the A category as far as that's what I would rate them. So, without further ado, let's get on with this one. Once again, Scott, thank you, brother. I do appreciate you sending this to me. I am definitely looking forward. That's why I put it in the fridge and queued it up to come up pretty quick. 11.5%. This is considered an imperial or a strong porter. And for those of you that don't know, basically a porter was the predecessor of the stout over in England, and they had brewed the porters. This is back in the 1700s and so. To be something to be consumed. It was usually considered a low alcohol or ABV beer that you could drink for either breakfast or lunch and go on about your business. This was before soft drinks and sodas and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, even kids back then drank between a 1 and a 3% alcohol beer. That's just the way. That's just the times. The day of the times back then. Even water had to be boiled back then to make it safe to drink. So everybody consumed a beer since during the brewing process the water is boiled and there's no harmful impurities in the beer once it's boiled like that. So they brewed the porters for the dock workers and the warehouse guys to be able to drink this at lunchtime with their lunch and go back to work. It wasn't like drinking a 10, 11, 12, 15% alcohol beer at lunchtime and then you're shit-faced and you can't do anything, or you end up cutting your arm off or doing something stupid like that. But now, this day and age, everybody wants to brew a massive beer. I mean, if you're brewing an IPA, you want it to be a double IPA or a triple IPA, or if you're brewing a porter or a stout, you want it to be 15%. That's just the day and age we live in. Everybody wants to be at the top of the hill. We brewed the biggest one, or we brewed this, or we brewed that. So, the stouts used to be the bigger brother of the porters, but now we're getting into imperial porters. And that's what this is. This is considered an imperial porter at 11.5%. So there's not a lot of differences between the porters and the stouts, in my opinion. Now there's people that will argue that. I mean, the porter used to be a little lighter in the color. You could see a little bit of light through the beer. It had some red ruby tinges around the outside, and of course the stouts were pitch black. I mean, they were thicker. They were just a heavier beer than the porters were, and now those those distinguishers have basically disappeared. I mean, not a lot of difference between an imperial porter and an imperial stout. I mean, like I said, there are people that will argue that. I mean, but I get a lot of the same notes and qualities from these monster imperial porters that I do from the stouts. I mean, a lot of coffee, a lot of chocolate, a lot of cocoa, some dark fruit and stuff like that. So I've not had this particular one that Scott has sent me here. So let's see what this one brings. Alright, over to the food pairings. Cuisine is a buttery Brie Gouda Havarti Swiss. And since it is in a porter, and both the porters and the stouts have a lot of roasted malt and a lot of the chocolate notes, if you will, that go well with your chocolate dishes. The meat for this is beef, smoked meat, game, and grilled meat. Glassware, pint, becker, non tumbler, snifter, oversized wine glass. I've got my best friend here, the double glass, and this beer can be cellared for long periods. Would not disagree with that whatsoever. This is a monster beer, and I don't think there's any kind of dating on this. Not that it's critical that we need to know what the bottle on date was, but I would like to see a year. I tell you that all the time, so you'll know how long the beer's been in the bottle and how long you can sell it or you want to sell it. Even though if you go in and you pick it up and say, I bought this in 2014, that doesn't mean the beer was put in the bottle in 2014. It could have been sitting there for a year or two or three or four or however. So unless they step up to the plate and put at least a year on when it was bottled, you have no idea. You might be able to go to the website and say, well, we did this beer in 2014. Well, a lot of people don't have that ability when they're in the beer store shopping. I mean, in this day and age, most people have a smartphone, and you probably could look it up if you have some kind of internet service or whatever to find out, but we shouldn't have to jump through hoops to find out when you're shopping for beer. They should put a bottled on date on here, at least a year. Don't need the month or the day, just put a damn year on it. Come on, step up to the plate. Don't make me slap you. Alright, it's got a bunch of stuff written on the side, and it is so small, I gotta get the Santa Claus glasses out. Get Imperial Biscotti Break. Also make your sugar levels rise and the bittersweet flavors in coffee, almonds, and chocolate very sentimental. I have not had Biscotti Break. Now we've topped it off with an insane amount of donuts. Oh, I love donuts. I just spent 30 minutes in the line there at the brand new Krispy Kreme store that they just built here in Roanoke. The other one caught fire, and we've been without Krispy Kreme donut for I think over a year now. So, and then the line was around the building, guys. It was insane. I went by there twice before I decided to stop and get in that line, and waited 30 minutes to get some donuts to bring home. And that's just what it is. I think the Valley missed Krispy Kreme not being here, and we have several local donut shops, and we got Dunkin' Donuts, but those donuts are not quite the same. So, says now we topped it off with an insane amount of donuts. This all-time American favorite is making its way back into the spotlight, and we at Evil Twin Brewing are not letting a tasty trend pass us by without taking it to the next level. Drink it with great gusto. Forza Donuts. And it's produced and bottled for Evil Twin Brewing at Westbrook Brewing Company, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And it's also distributed by 12% LLC out of Brooklyn, New York. So, don't see any kind of dating or anything. I will look closer at the bottle, but I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any kind of dating on there on this particular beer, guys. So, it is what it is. 2014, can't get a date. What the hell's up with that? Alright, glass bar, pint glass, Becker, and Nonic tumbler, snip oversized wine glass. I told you I've got the double glass, and we can sell all this beer. So I don't think there's anything else. Let's see, what the commercial description says, brewed for Revival 2013 and later bottles Imperial Biscotti Break Dry Dough Nutted. So basically what it's saying there, they've taken the Biscotti Break and they've added something to it to resemble or taste like donuts. We'll find out here in just a second. I'm going to pop the cap on this, and whether we've got any donut influences or if it's just about a brown sugar or molasses or something added to it to give it that extra sweetness. And let's see if we have a commercial description over here. And the commercial description over here at the Beer Advocate is the same thing I just read off the bottle here. So I don't think we need to talk about anything else. Let's pop the cap on this sucker and you get it in the glass. Nice hiss, a little bit of smoke. Let's go down the center on this one, guys. Looks like a stout coming out of the bottle. It really does. It is pitch black. Deep, dark, rich looking head there. About a finger, maybe a little more than a finger of head. And you can see how dark that head is. It is pretty dark. Alright, over to the light. There is none. It looks like a stout in the glass. It really, really does. And it's up to the brewer. If he wants to call it a stout or if he wants to call it a porter, they can. They can choose that name. There are guidelines that tell you what this should taste like or what this should be or what that should be. But it's up to the brewer. If he wants to call this a stout, he can call it a stout. If he wants to call it a porter, he can call it a porter. Especially when it looks like this. So, looks pretty good in the glass. I've not been disappointed, like I said, from McKellar or Jeffy from the Evil Twin. They do some good stuff. Let's get a nose on it. Getting a hint of the alcohol, but I'm getting a lot of rich roasted malt. Some coffee, a little hint of some dark fruit. Not getting any donuts on the nose. Like I said, I haven't had the Biscotti Break, so I don't know how to compare that to that beer since I've not had it. Smells very rich, very sweet, like it's got some cocoa nibs or something like that in it. Coffee, roasted malt, molasses, or some kind of brown sugar. Don't know if there's any lactose used in this. I'll be able to tell that a little bit more once I taste it. Smells very rich and sweet. So let's give it a taste, see what we got. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Scott. Thank you, brother. Very sweet. I would not be surprised if there was not lactose used in this. Very creamy mouthfeel. Bittersweet chocolate. Espresso coffee. Rich roasted malt. To be honestly blunt, I am getting a hint of some sweet donuts in there. I'm very surprised. It has got a nice sweetness to it. Not to the overly sweet, but it could be bordering on that if you're not used to a sweet beer. That is a very well made beer. I could sit here and drink all of this right in front of you. It is that tasty. Chocolate, coffee, caramel or brown sugar. I'm thinking there's some lactose use in this because it's got a really sweet, creamy mouthfeel. Mm. This would go very well with a chocolate cake, chocolate pie, brownie. Anything with chocolate in it, this would go well with. Or just take some ice cream and chuck it into the glass. Very sweet. Very, very nice. Delicious. Look at the lacing it's leaving on the glass. Very impressive beer, and I kind of figured it would be. Not been disappointed by anything that Jeffrey does or McKellar does. But those guys got it going on. They know how to brew good beer. Just be careful though. It's 11.5%. Get you in trouble if you try to chug something like this, and it's sweet enough and tasty enough where you could chug it. You could actually pour a glass of this and drink it within a minute or two. And then 5 or 10 minutes later, you're staggering around wondering what the hell happened. So let's let it warm up, and maybe fire up a little cigar and sip on this one for a little bit, and come back and do the final chug. But pretty damn impressive so far. Definitely looks like an 8 beer. Let's see where it ends up. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. This beer is delicious, guys. Very nice sweetness, roasted malt, coffee, toffee, caramel. Maybe a little lactose in there. I'm not sure whether they use that on this beer or not, but it's got such a nice sweetness to it, I almost think they had to. Final chug. It has such a sweetness to it. I can see why they call it a donut break. Almost like it's got some brown sugar or some candied sugar or something like that in to give it that sweetness. Wow, very nice. A very intense beer, very complicated beer with a lot of things going on with it, and a very potent beer at 11.5%. The alcohol is fairly well hidden. A little bit more as it warmed up, but still not overpowering or no burning or anything in the back of the throat. Very tasty, very tasty. Like I've said multiple times, McKellar and Jeffy both know what to do when they're brewing their beers. It's a very tasty beer. Very, very tasty beer, I will add. If you can get your hands on one of either McKellar's beers or Jeffy's from Evil Twin, you need to pick them up and give them a try. They are very delicious beers. I enjoy just about everything that I've had from either one of these guys. They're very, very tasty. So if they would only step up to the plate, and I know being a vagabond brewery, I mean, you're limited to what the brewery can do. If they don't have a dating process in their brewing process where they can date the beer, either a bottle on date, or in this case, being like an Imperial Porter at 11.5%, at least a year. I mean, they're only brewing this stuff for him one time, so, and they're only making these labels for him one time, so they could put a year on these labels. So I got a problem with that. It's not going to go bad. I mean, if this sits on the shelf for 2 or 3, 4, even 5 years, and you pick it up, it's still going to be good. But if you're wanting to know when the beer is put in a bottle, so you can age this beer and know when it was put in the bottle, you have no idea. You have no idea. And I mean, if you can go to the website and say this, and they tell you this beer was brewed on this date, fine. I mean, a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of people don't have that ability to to check that while they're shopping for beers. So it would be nice to see bottled in 2014 or bottled in 2012 or whenever, and it's not on there. So you don't know. I mean, you could research it and you can do some homework and find out when this beer was actually done. But it's nice while you're shopping to have that information on the bottle, and this one does not. Now, I've looked on the bottle and there is no dating whatsoever on the bottle. So, to me, this is an excellent, it's definitely an A beer. But not having a year on the beer is a thumbs down for me on that. So, to me, guys, this is a 10 beer and a 9 bottle. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to give it the 9 out of 10 because it has no year on the bottle. That's not going to affect how long you can cellar it or anything like that. I don't see anything about this beer that would deter you cellaring this beer. But we need that information. And being a vagabond brewer as he is, and his brother, you're limited to what the brewery that you're choosing to let brew your beers can do. If they have no dating, your beer has no dating. that's the bottom line. So, with that being said, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. And if it had a year on the label, I would probably step up to the plate and say it's a 10 beer. So, it's worthy of picking up. So, if you can get your hands on the Evil Twin Imperial Doughnut Break at 11.5% Imperial Porter. Not a lot of difference between this and a stout. It is pretty dark, pretty rich, pretty full flavored beer. A lot of sweetness in this beer. And I can see why they would call it a donut because of the sweetness, whether it's lactose or whatever, candied sugar or whatever they use to give it that sweetness. It's not overly sweet, but it is a sweet beer. It is something that maybe even the girls would like. The other half loved this beer. Like I tell you guys, she don't come on camera. She's a little shy, and she has allergies and stuff, so she don't get a lot of the aspects of the beer on the nose, but she gets it on the taste. I mean, she knows what she likes, and she liked this one. So, guys, it's definitely an A beer for me. So, let's go see what everybody else thinks. We'll go over to Beer Advocate first. If I can get this damn thing to work. Beer Advocate says 94 in their outstanding range. If I was putting a numeric rating on this, I would probably give it between a 98 or a 99 since it doesn't have a date on it. So, over to Rate Beer. Rate Beer says it is overall 100 and 98 in the style. So you average those two out, and that's about a 99. That's about where I would put it, between a 98 and 99 on the scale today. So if you've had this one from Evil Twin, their Imperial Doughnut Break Imperial Porter at 11.5%, a sipper, not a chugger. Went very well with the cigar that I was puffing on. And I will tell you, what were you smoking? I was smoking a bare knuckle from Punch. It is a full flavored cigar. It went very well with this beer. I enjoyed the beer and the cigar together. Very tasty. Let me know what you think of this one. If you've had this one, let me know what you think. And we're going to go take a walk tomorrow and see what's in the fridge. Hope you got time to stop by and see what's in the fridge tomorrow. See you then.